Well, we've reached that point, you know? One of the first things I kind of said when I started this season of League was... Oh, okay, no, I said fucking League. One of the first things I said, actually, at the start of this was the reason for such delays was a combination of just my general laziness and procrastination, but also mostly because I feel it with certain shows. I feel it with certain series. I feel it where the end is inevitable, and I don't want to reach that point. I feel it where, you know, well, the same kind of, where the same physical experience does kind of happen, where if I just stop watching a show, it's kind of like I'm not benefiting in any way to finish it. I'm not getting the ending, I'm not watching anything new. It's the comfort of it always being there. It's the comfort of always knowing that there's something more that I can look to whenever I want to. When you finish a show like this, it's the point where you're done, you know, and that deep feeling of like just unease kind of settles in, you know, and I don't have that too much on the channel itself. I've had it before, definitely with some shows. Like I think Star was the first show I ever really had that big fucking feeling with, where ending it, watching the ending, and kind of just, you know, processing the fact that I was done with Star did fuck me up for a little bit. It really did feel like fuck, something I really loved was over, even if, you know, the season 4 in hindsight wasn't really that great. But I've been feeling it again. I've been feeling it really with Arcane as I went into the season, you know, as I thought about it, as the thought of almost watching the season felt unappealing to me because of it, you know. But I have reached that point where I'm here. You know, I bought this a long time ago, whenever this came out, and, you know, I don't even know why it's still fucking, why it's wrapped up, you know. I don't even know if I'm gonna open it because it's on Netflix, and, like, you know, at that point, if I'm not gonna open it, why not even buy it? But it's that weird feeling, right? But, you know, I'm at this point where I don't know what to feel, because I have a lot of times in shows and experiences where I feel like my reaction to it doesn't always align with how I feel going out of it. A lot of times my experience with these shows is what it is on camera for the first time viewing, but when I go back to it a long time later, I will feel different. I might feel less for it. I might feel a lot more emotional for it. I've had shows where I didn't cry that I reacted to, and I rewatched them and really settled down and watched them, and I feel like I do cry. Sometimes I do cry watching shows that I don't, and I don't cry much on camera anymore, and I don't really know what the reason is. I don't really know why I have this experience where it almost to me feels like my actual feelings aren't coming out properly in the videos, because, like, it is a different setting. It is a different setting to do a reaction, to do a first time viewing like this, and it is a different feeling to try and verbally commentate on it while you're actually watching it, instead of just letting it all seep in your head as you go through it. Not to say that's a bad thing or anything, but it feels different to do it like this, and, you know, it honestly almost sometimes feels like I'm coming off as dishonest when I would do a reaction, when I do a video of something. I give my thoughts on the video as I come out, and then, you know, if I'm talking about a show that's either finished or that, you know, I continue later on for a new season or something, almost like if I go back into it and I say something different and I have a different feeling about it than what I left off in the reaction on, almost feels like I came off as dishonest in a way in that reaction, because if, you know, I watch something in the moment, I love it, I come back, you know, in 2 years or something, say when, you know, something new's come out about it, or I'm just talking about it generally in something, and I say it sucked, well, it's like, you know, did I just fucking lie the first time? Did I just lie to everyone that I liked it? And I don't think that's really the case, but it does, I feel like, you know, from the context of just watching videos of me, it can definitely come off as that. And I feel like it might be a case in this video as well, because I don't know what I really expect from the finale of Arcane, you know? I don't know how this is going to make me feel. I don't know how I'm going to feel about this, and I don't even fully know in a certain way how I feel about the season. You know, I'm starting to wonder, like, do I really love Arcane Season 2? Because I do. But am I loving Arcane Season 2 so much because I'm watching this person, you know? Am I loving this season because I'm loving the story I'm being told? Or am I loving it because the story being told is being told to me through Jinx? because it's being told to me through Violet, because it's being told to me through Jace and Victor, you know. Am I really loving the story itself, or am I loving am I loving the characters the story births and that they're telling the story to me through them, you know? And that is something that kind of hits me a little bit, is that when I'm done with Arcane in this episode, I feel really strongly we're going to get more in the story. Like, it's going to continue. But I don't know what my willingness is going to be to continue it yet. I don't know, like, if we do get the rest, or we get a much deeper, expanded continuity in this world, but we're done with Piltover and Zaun, I don't know how I'm going to feel about that, right? If, like, when a story ends and you have the finale, you know, that's it. You have what you have, the story was told for your characters, and that's it. But if you get a story where Mel was the next main character and we just kind of go and expand a new audience, whatever the finale is of these characters in this one, I don't know how I feel about that. In a way, it just feels like moving on, and it feels like, you know, almost abandoning what we had, and it feels like, you know, the main character time shifts, but I don't know how, like, it would feel kind of almost wrong in a sense to continue in this story, to get invested, if I leave episode 9 with the knowledge that, like, Jinx is dead and the world has just moved on from this character I love so much. Same thing with Violet, same thing with Caitlyn, you know, like, same thing with Jace and Victor, I guess, you know. Like, how do I feel continuing this experience in this universe when possibly people that I love are just going to be gone from it, and the world is going to continue, and it's not even like a next generation thing where, like, you know, the kids of these characters are the protagonists, you know, that's a different thing entirely, but when the world moves forward without them at all, it just feels different, you know. And I know this is weird stuff to say at the start of a video, but, like, it makes me think about that a little bit. I have been thinking about that now. If I go into, like, Noxus in the next season, or if I go to some other location, it's like, you know, well, Jinx and Violet and Zaun are fucking gone, so, like, you know, this world has no, like, impact on them anymore, so it almost feels dirty to keep treading in that pathway. And you know, and to go back to, like, the dishonesty thing, it makes me curious what I feel about this, you know. I might love this, right? I might love this episode as I watch it. I might love it in this reaction. But am I going to love it because it's my last experience with Jinx and Violet and, you know, everyone together? Or am I actually going to love it for the story it's going to tell? Because, again, my doubt is, like, this is not a lot of time to do this. This is not a lot of time to do a fucking war, people! And am I going to come into this episode bitter on rewatches, right? Because of how it might go. I don't want that to happen, but at the same time, I can't really stop myself from thinking, like, how this is going to affect me in different ways. And emotionally, how it's going to affect me as well. But we're going to go into it, right? We're going to watch this story. We're going to watch this this feeling play out. And I'm going to rewatch myself probably do this. And I definitely know that Arcane's going to be a series that's going to impact me for a long time, because a benefit and a detriment to doing the series this late is that, like, everything's out now, and everyone's done their videos and their reviews and their shit on it, you know. There's reactors that have done it, there are reviews, there are essays on it, you know. In one hand, it's like, you know, Arcane isn't trending anymore, so no one's really making too much more content on it. On the other hand, I now have all that shit at my fingertips whenever I want, as much as I want, and I can just backlog it on a list and play it throughout whenever I feel like. So it's a bit of a different feeling in that regard, because I'm not I'm not under any limits at this point, but at the same time, no one's talking about Arcane now, so it's like, fuck, man, am I too late? I don't know, I'm definitely too late. This show's been out for almost 2 years, but, like, fuck. I don't know. Guys, I feel like I would have some kind of big shit to say at the beginning of this video that, like, actually is relevant to what's gonna happen right now. But I don't fucking know. People are gonna die. That's probably it. I'm gonna fucking, you know, I might not, like, I probably won't cry in the video because I don't know. Like, I don't do that much anymore, but, like, when I started out reacting, I wasn't, like, as emotionally blocked off from doing that in videos, you know, when I was watching crap like Steven Universe and Ruby and, you know, Ben 10 and shit. I actually did that a lot. Now I don't do it so much, and I don't honestly know why, but I feel like when I rewatch this shit, you know, maybe just a week later, I'm gonna fucking pull my eyes out, and I don't know why I'm like that anymore. I don't know. But this is going to be my last experience, and I can definitely tell you that I'm going to be sad regardless of what it feels like, you know. Jinx, love that girl. Peak girl, actually fucking peak. If I ever make like a tier list or some shit, and anything of Arcane is on it, that fucker's going in the top category automatically. You know, Violet, incredible as well. Have loved her. Jace and Victor, some of the best boys I've ever seen. We'll see where this goes. Guys, Arcane episode 9. We're gonna really see, you know, I felt about doing a Jinx shirt, but I feel like this is a better representation of just Arcane as a whole, because I do love Jinx, but like, you know, this one tells a story, and we're really gonna see if the monster that has been created is still accurate by the end of this episode. So, yeah, we're gonna reach this point. We're gonna reach a point that's gonna fucking tear me apart inside, and let's just do it, you know. Episode 9, the finale. Let's begin it. Alright, guys. Finale of Arcane for good. Finale of Zaun and Piltover and all that shit. Let's do it. Alright, what are we gonna get? Alright, basic. Yeah, they really went in an anomaly route with Echo and Jinx that one time. Of course. Of course. Her hair looks incredible. Didn't she lose one of her braids earlier as well? That's not even the full thing. Oh. It all comes back. Oh my god! Oh my fucking god! What is this? The last drop? She's burning it all down. She's burning the whole place. Every, like, memory, every trace. This isn't even just like that. This is a childhood home as well. This is where Powder was as well. Fucking hell.
Nothing to fight or protect.
Good lord.
Maybe then I could find.
Oh my god, a monkey bomb with that. Don't say. Oh my god, please don't do that. Death is like falling asleep.
Wait!
Oh my god! He fucking reversed time on that.
I just want to talk to you.
Get out of here, Echo.
He actually reversed her death. Holy fuck!
I just want to talk to you, pal. Jinx.
This is fucked. She's like actually killing herself again and again.
Echo.
Wait!
Seriously, does that thing have no limit?
Always a dance with you.
Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna sit here a minute. Catch my breath.
What the fuck, bro? I mean, I get it.
See if I can talk an old friend out of blowing us up.
Also, like, she cut her hair.
I'm tired of talking.
She actually cut her hair. He will literally
I learned from someone.
not let you do that.
Very special.
We are returning by death in a way. As cheesy as it
No
sounds.
matter what happened in the past, it's never too late to build something new.
Yes. That's Powder's design right there.
Someone worth building it for.
Go. Please let me go.
The way her tears are positioned almost look like she has Vi's tattoo on her. Like it almost says Vi. I even noticed right there, she actually rubbed it off, a Vi symbol. Alright, Echo, if you can... If you want a chance right now to prove yourself to me, to prove that, like, you are actually can be one of the best things about this show, then on one hand, go for it. On the other hand, I'm gonna be pissed off you wanting to show more at that point. Like, ugh. I don't think there's a good way to actually see that. Yeah. Oh, the misery. Everybody wants to be my enemy. Spare the sympathy. Everybody wants to be my enemy. Swear, I'm never being saved, no way. My enemy, where, I swear, I'm never being saved. Look out for yourself. Last time we'll hear that. Oh god. This is the same area that that Jason. No, okay, I think we're gonna reach the same bridge that Jason Silco had their little talk on in the last season. Interesting start though with Echo. Really almost like, yeah, in the desperation in his voice right there about like his hope has been reunited. Not reunited, that's a weird fucking word. Has been
I need you
rebirthed
to buy me as much time as you can
Jinx.
so I can shut down the Hex Gates. It's our only chance.
Victor's at the center of all this, isn't he?
I didn't come into this season thinking that would happen, honestly. I really didn't. Bro wanted to just fix his leg just to be like everyone
We're
else.
meant to lose this fight.
Like, look at that.
If he reaches the Hex Gates,
Okay.
Then we'd best stop him.
Yeah, you really know, like, this is very possibly the last time you're all gonna see each other, ever. Like, any one of you can die in this. Oh my, oh wow. Okay, yeah, her hair's like almost is basically back to normal now. I actually kind of like the half black, half pink look. Builds character, builds experience, tells a story.
Reinforce the forward artillery. We can't let them break through.
I want to use some magic here. Nice. Seeing her in the gear is still kind of insane. This dude. It's actually a pretty cool firing method, actually. Who is she carrying? But one of Jinx's supporters. One that, oh, of course, one of the people that actually stepped forward first to fight. Come on, Zaun believes in Jinx, man. She's got to do something. And honestly, like, Ambassador is a near unbeatable, like, boss. I don't know how she's honestly still alive after, like, her encounter with Vanda and, like, the explosion in episode 6. She just doesn't take any fucking damage for anything. Like, actually nothing. Look at that shit. I do want to ask, is Ambassador an actual, like, fighter in League? Does she actually have, like, an ability that shows utilizing that I'm not understanding? Like, is she a massive tank with, like, some of the largest amount of HP in the game? I don't know, like, who gives me the vibes of, like, like an original character and who doesn't. I guess if they're not colorful enough, really. Shimmer. That's not Victor. Don't fucking tell me Vanda's body is up again.
Move your units and wait there. Stay
Are we not gonna go back to Jinx at all and then she's just gonna fucking, like, pop in at some point? That's actually bigger than Vanda. Like, way bigger. Oh, it's just carrying him, okay. Maddie, okay, Maddie. I did look that up, I'm glad I remembered that. Maddie. Clean shot, you only get one. Crap. Okay, yeah. Because this feels like an NP. Oh, fuck! Oh my god! Oh, fuck, wow, he just fucking died. Like, actually just died. That quickly. That was almost, like, so nonchalant as well. Yeah, because these are like actual NPCs. These are actually like probably things you just nonchalantly fight in the game. This big guy. Nice, come on. Give me Amber vs Violet. Like, come on. I feel like I was like subtly promised that in this season. Give me the muscle girls going at it. Yeah, he's gone. And on the subject of muscle girls, Savika, guys, just saying. Hey, the gas comes back. But to be fair though, yeah, like, Piltover's always been prepared for chemical warfare since they always just use masks, like, just going in the Undercity anyway. That's almost like a non-issue. Jesus. Oh crap. Yeah, unless you drop the thing, I guess. A bomb. Maybe not a bomb? Okay, a bomb. Didn't work. You're gonna have to get Jinx to do something? Great. Ah, fuck. Ah, fuck. The mask went off there. Alright. That's character 1, Colt. Shit. Okay, the music, like, actually peak points here. What the hell? Oh my god, it's just her. No way! Oh my god! She was a traitor! Oh fuck! Oh my god, she was actually a traitor.
I warned you of the hazards of professional entanglement.
Fucking loser. Right, she needs her there, right?
Desperation is the doorway to oblivion, child.
What? What? Did she stab her?
Let's get this over with.
Fuck! She actually stabbed her. I feel like she just need her.
I did appreciate your warmth.
But you did cheat on her with butt. Get fucked! Oh Mel, that was the best thing you've ever done. Holy shit! That was actually some fucking Looney Tunes shit. Just ricocheted right back into her. Do it. Mummy versus daughter.
If you care for me at all,
Do it.
spare their lives. There is nothing to gain from this senseless bloodshed.
Still a fox. Soldier?
I mean, Caitlyn is definitely small potatoes compared to you. The firelights? What the fuck? Echo, what did you do to her? What have you done? What is this? An hour at most? You gave Jinx like an hour of prep time and this is what she fucking does? Comes in like damn near Megamind style? Presentation! Yeah? Yeah? Yeah! Oh my god, she graffitied them too! That is such a Jinx thing to do! Dude, the way Jinx sat there, that reminds me of someone, but I cannot remember for the life of me who it is. She just sat there like beating, barely showing her head. I know I've seen a character like that, and it's killing me I can't just name them. What did Jinx call Echo? The boy savior? Yeah, talk about the fucking woman savior. Yeah, you're in trouble now. Literally, the actual key to stopping this is Jinx. She is that much of a mayhem, like, girl. The actual chaos queen. Oops. Nice. Damn. Nice! Yeah, everything from this to like the blue theme to the music to the absolute relentlessness. Yeah, this is like this is some fucking Megamind style shit, like some Tony Stark level shit. Damn. Alright, let's go. Let's go. What do we get? Double team? Caitlyn and Mel versus Emberson. Where is he?
Where is Victor?
That was a distraction. You got baited! Oh fuck, you got baited! Baited! Oh, that was... my apologies. He's already out. He is already out and he can't even be called human anymore.
Despite the circumstances, Jace,
And he still talks the same.
I am
what?
to see you.
What do I even call
There
him?
must be some part of you still in there.
His design's probably based off some god or something. I just don't know. Oh, great. Creatures that can move. Oh, hi! 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 Wait, Savika was actually here? On the battlefield? She even got her Jinx arm back. Interesting. Yeah, it's like a virus, man. One spreads, they all spread. Like, you actually have no counter to that.
Mother, look at the price of your ambition. You've sacrificed everything.
Freedom, humanity,
Kino,
literally free will
the city
itself.
I built for our family.
If it was for us, you wouldn't have fought me.
You are no Madada.
You remember your
We don't have time. Literally. Alright, double team it. Yep. Mel's got your back. What are you even wearing armor for at that point? It's time, baby. Oh, definitely like that design. Vibe, big time. It's interesting because there really isn't a lot of dialogue in this episode, but it's all just so, like, it's so impacted by the action. There's so much fucking action here. And of course that's Vanda. Oh, great. Good to see those two see each other again. That's a lot. Nice! That's a lot of trust you just put in him. Oh, that's gotta sting so badly, man. They've gotta fight. They actually gotta fucking fight Vanda again. Nice. Nice. Again. Anyone can die. Anyone can fucking die. Jesus. Just gotta keep that in mind. Great.
It is we, answer you and I.
Well, that's
pursue
just
all
creepy.
of
I thought that was coming through the whole
an
place.
end to cruelty, injustice. All of us are own authors to an unbroken saga of progress to the benefit of all.
People deserve to choose their own fates.
Choice is false. It is how we clothe and forgive the baser instincts that spur us to division.
Oh, his body is actually horrifying right now. What the hell?
Energy spent only to consume itself, but we can be of one mind.
Didn't even fucking move it like that. Hey bro, you remove individuality, free will, you know? You'll just come one with the boy, that's not living. That is actually sick, how our boots actually have like claws on them. Oh, come on. You got... No, bro, it's the final episode. Stop the teasing. Stop the teasing of who's gonna die and who's not. God, she is that she get her eye? She got her eye.
You fought well, child.
Yeah. Oh god.
Now!
Oh, yeah, now try it. Now try it.
A wolf has no mercy.
Oh god. Oh god. Oh god, say goodbye. Say goodbye, Ambassador.
Your daughter is wiser than you credit. I salute you, Ambassador. For one without the gift, you were quite a thorn.
Just not, you know, big enough. What is this prison of torture she is in?
What are you doing, sister?
Oh, God. The imagery is perfect, though.
I see your face, deceiver.
Sly girl.
What? 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 What the fuck? What the hell has Mel become? Genuinely, what even is she? Beaten. The fox beat the wolf.
You are the wolf.
Oh, she actually still went. She actually still died from there, huh? And they're loyal to her now? In a way, yeah, like, Ambassador just kind of handed her the crown there. You know, the apex. Oh god. Alright, so that's one problem down now. That's knocks this whole thing done. But Victor, on the other hand, and whatever the hell's going on here. Damn. Rip.
Looks like you shouldn't have come back.
Oh my god,
Still
even her
don't get it,
hair.
huh, sis? I'm always with you. Even when we're worlds apart.
Nice. How long did it take you to do all that on yourself, by the way? Bust out a fucking
Stop
crayon box?
Sanity, Victor.
That is precisely my intention.
That just doesn't... That just looks grotesque.
When your mind is open, Jace.
Oh! Oh! Oh, cool! What the... This is so, like, messed up, man. They're actually gonna fight.
Vander.
Yeah, there. Okay, I wasn't what. Yeah, I was pretty sure that was Vander. Like, now they have to actually fight him.
Dad?
Oh, and he's got super speed. And he matches you now. And now your advantage is lost. And now this fucking fight became 10 times worse. And Echo's just like stuck, by the way, under a piece of debris. Never mind. Okay. Nice, 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 the missile! Like, bro. Love you, Jace, but you ain't winning now solo. Oh, hi! Hi! Oh, hi! Oh, never mind, just crashed the party! I love when two fights separately come into one. Like, that's actually so cool, especially when they're not even, like, they got nothing to do with each other.
Do you see the sublime intersection of order and chaos?
Bro, he saw the apocalypse. Actually, he saw the world that he won in. And now things are looking more familiar. Now things are looking like what he saw. Yeah, it does seem like, while Echo and Heimerdinger went to an alternate reality, Jace just went to the future of his own reality. Yeah, what it did was it showed them what they needed to see more than anything. Great. Fuck! Yeah, how's Echo doing? It's too late, man. You can't even, like, reverse time on this anymore. Oh, that is just fucking, that is disgusting. Everyone just hangs like ornaments.
This is what you see.
The collective conscience. Whoa!
This conflict. This senseless waste. I know their minds, Jace.
That is so... That is so... Oh, that is so weird, just how his face is closed, but the mask is his face.
Self-corrupting contradiction.
You've always wanted to cure what you thought were weaknesses. Your leg. Your disease. But you were never broken, Victor. There is beauty in imperfections. They made you who you are. An inseparable piece of everything.
Yeah, his conscience is literally getting absorbed right now. Wow. Everyone! Absolutely everyone, and yet Echo, like, you just forgot about. Was it because he was knocked out at the time? Really? Like, really? Nice. There you go. There you go. Dude, Echo's a character that would just fuck me up, because I would have no idea how to handle that like actual like time manipulation ability. Too late! Too late! Too late! Yep, the time limit surpassed. back further? Oh my god. Oh my god. And it's actually affecting that. It's actually affecting that world as well. Oh shit! A small piece of it. Of you in a way.
That device can't be.
Normally no, actually, but you know. Alternate reality mumbo jumbo. Damn! Oh, that fucked him up! It actually got him. It actually made him... got his influence. It broke Victor out of it.
I thought I wanted us to give magic to the world. Now, all I want
Is to destroy it.
is my partner back.
Oh.
Why do you persist? After everything I've done.
Because I promised you.
Damn.
Why did you ever give me this? Why?
Imagine seeing that, what the outcome of your victory was, the chaos that it ensured. It was Victor?
I thought I could bring an end to the world's suffering. But when every equation was solved...
Wait, the OG mage that saved him was...
all that remained
was what the
fields of...
what the
dreamless
fuck?
solitude.
What the
There is no
actual
price to
fuck?
perfection.
And you like... he
Only
came
an
back.
end to pursuit.
He actually came back.
In all timelines, in all possibilities.
Different rune, different meaning, but it all led to the same result. What the fuck? It was literally just Victor.
Can show me this.
He actually went there. That's a paradox and a half, honestly. Alright, so how do you stop it though? What do you do to stop this? Yeah, sinking in what you did. This isn't life.
You must go, Jess.
Never. Partners, man. Partners. Package deal.
We finish this together.
Yes. What does that mean exactly? That's not going to be a sacrifice, is it? Bro, you like we lose both Jace and Victor. I mean, I knew it'd be possible, but like, what the like, I don't want it to happen. What is this gonna mean? Fuck. And of course, like that. Actually, like fucking that. He gave up. He lost himself. Jace and Victor gone. You guys are floating in the air, by the way. Oh, Jesus! God, I felt that impact. Yeah, how many people are just dying, by the way? Due to being, like, way high up. That's GG. I'm not surprised, but I'm hurt that we lost both Jace and Victor. Both just wanted to fix the world. Not great.
Hurry, you can make the other ledge. Vi! What are you?
She doesn't want to leave him. This is what your memory of Daddy became, your last one.
You can't save him.
For real. Jesus! No. No. The worst times in anything is always to get stopped in the middle of a finale, right? But we're here. We're here. We're gonna continue, you know? Not gonna let that ruin everything. And of course, this is a cycle breaker. This is a cycle breaker.
Always with you, sis.
A death with purpose, right? Saving her. And everything, all the fucking time comes back to that gem. Saving Vi. Going out with her daddy, really. We haven't had, like... Oh, it really feels real, because this is a death she's happy. She's going in to hug the fucker.
I could just lay my head down and rest. If there was nothing to fight or protect, maybe then I could finally be free. Maybe death is like falling asleep.
These girls, this family is so fucking broken, man. It's insane this is how far it went. Losing both of them. Howler and Vander.
Please let me go. 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 Please let me go.
That song is so much worse. That song makes it so much worse. I don't think we lost as many as I expected, but we lost a lot. We fucking lost a lot, including Jinx. She went out in a way she was actually satisfied with this time, not in despair really, but in satisfaction of saving someone.
You may read about the war in Piltover. But history is made palatably abstract. For its truth,
Savika of all people being there.
exaltation of every triumph. There's more than one should bear.
Bro, back to that spot, really?
We, whose decisions led us here, will carry them forever.
What the actual fuck? Savika on the council, are you mad?
Our only consolation that with every loss, we found some good, some light, worth gaining, worth fighting for.
Are you fucking kidding me? He saved her? He got his daughter
we are doomed
awake?
to revisit the error of our ways.
What? What?
Spark ever more conflicts.
And she's gone. She's actually... Her seat was closed. So she's actually going back to Noxus.
Our story isn't over.
Come on, show me something, man. Like, at least show me Violet and Caitlyn again. You're really saying the last shot of Vi is gonna be fucking wailing like that? Yeah, this girl was just, you know, this one's gone through a lot.
Is that singing?
It's just a tune my mother used to hum.
Are you still in this fight, Violet?
I am the dirt under your nails, Cupcake.
Wow, what a line.
Nothing's gonna clean me out.
Dirt under your nails, huh? I'm gonna look back on that scene though, I'm gonna cry so fucking hard about that Jinx. Victor, Jace, Jinx, like... Talk about some crazies to go all at once. And that's it, huh? Yeah, I kind of agree, honestly. Fuck the music. What music could you even, like... What music could you even add to that? Honestly. But it does feel kind of strange that there honestly is no music. In a strange way as it is, that almost made it seem like there is more set up with Violet and Caitlyn at the end there. Like what the fuck? What the actual fuck? Again, I don't know if there would be, but like... That is just so bizarre, honestly. So that was the ending. That was the end of our story, and we've got about 30 seconds left on the shot, and that was just, you know... That was an experience. That was definitely an experience, alright. Yeah, like I said, didn't really go into the, didn't really go into this season in general with much hope of Jinx surviving, but, you know, the way you see it is, like, it really hits. It really hits when you do end up seeing those moments where what you visualize in your head for so long actually hits reality, and you do see it. It becomes a bit much to really contain at once, you know. So it's definitely a moment for sure. I actually had this long before I even started season 2. I kept meaning to bring it up and show it off and maybe drink from it, but I think I just kept forgetting it was downstairs, which is pretty funny. But I do have some merch of the girl, you know. Got the big symbolized Jinx shirt right there. Had the one I had in episode 1 and I think 2 of episode 1 and 2 I think of this season, but I don't know what it is in a minute. And obviously, you know, Arcane, and there's you know, there's a reason why Jinx is the main cover of the best versions of the Blu-rays, is because she is the best part of the series. I think Violet's the character for just the Steelbook editions of the Blu-ray, but these are the Steelbook 4K renditions of the Blu-ray, so, you know, it's different, you know. The only thing that kind of gets me a little bit is that I didn't know they existed, for fuck's sake, but, like, the collector's 4K Blu-ray editions of the series that have, like, the dice rolls and I think some hex tech tools and shit. Those ones are the ones I would want, but at this point, you know, they're mostly just hundreds of pounds on eBay and shit, and, you know, most of them are used anyway, so you don't even get like a sealed copy, and I'm not taking some weirdo's crusted stained copy. But yeah, you know, I've become a big fan of this series, right? And I think that for the end of this video, what I'm going to do is not so much what I usually do in series, where I just mostly go through my my thoughts and opinions of the ending itself. I think for this, I'm going to just generally speak about Arcane, its characters, what I love, and that kind of shit. Because honestly, it's not a full statement to really say that this has been a breathtaking experience. You know, this is a series that doesn't necessarily feel like you're just watching a show. It feels like you are living and experiencing a show as you go along. You know, I think it's really great. And I think in general, you know, to keep things as clear, I guess, as possible, I do think coming out of this, even today, even after watching the finale, even after getting emotional about the finale, I do think that season 1 is the better season of the series. I think in general that, you know, season 1 feels a little more focused, I think, in its overall goal, retaining to the actual finale of the season itself, where every act and every part does build upon its own little storyline that takes place in the act itself, and then, you know, you get to the point where you reach the finale, you know, where in Act 1 you get the origin story of everything. You get the origin of Jinx. Act 2 you get the push, you know, the pressure on Jinx and what it means to be Jinx, and, you know, you get the temptation from Violet about whether she wants to be Powder or whether she wants to be Jinx. You know, you get the pressure from the past building up her eventual outburst, and then in Act 3, you know, Jinx finally reaches that point where she does just snap and she chooses Jinx, and then you reach, you know, the explosive finale of season 2, and it's pretty crazy. But I think for season 2, things are a little more grounded. Things are a little more, like, focused within their own narrative, where, unlike season 1, where everything is calculated and precisely building up to episode 9, it feels a little more like season 2 has its own kind of thing going on in its own acts that don't necessarily bleed too much into the overarching story, you know, because Act 1 you get mostly focused on the ending of episode 9 of season 1. You get the hunt for Jinx, you get the conflict with Jinx and Violet, you get the stuff with Caitlyn and her impact from Jinx's attack and killing her mama. Obviously, Act 2, you get the reconciliation, you get the stuff with Vander, the hope of just, in general, just bringing this family back together again. And in Act 3, you get, like, all of the extra shit. You get the stuff with the alternate realities. You get the stuff with, you know, the finale about this big, like, actual world-ending threat that is Victor, and this whole just attack, and it feels good. You know, definitely feels interesting for Arcane, but it doesn't feel like it necessarily clicks into place as much as everything that went on in Season 1, so I think overall as a narrative, Season 1 is better. But it still doesn't necessarily stop me from enjoying what Season 2 offered. It doesn't necessarily stop me from really being a fan of what I did get in Season 2, because, again, like I said at the start of the video, I do necessarily go off more, typically, when I watch shows in emotions more than just the story, you know, because while I do, as I've gone through the channel, I have loved watching stories, and I've loved watching series evolve and shit. I still necessarily keep my main opinion into just how the show makes me feel the most, and again, getting the characters right, getting these experiences with these characters, and getting just to see in general that the characters that I love, no matter what direction the story takes, can have an impact on me and my enjoyment. And, you know, because again, it's the fact that I'm following Jinx, it's the fact that I'm seeing the confrontation, the conflict with Violet, it's the fact that I'm seeing, you know, this broken fucking story of these people and this family, you know, try and cling itself back together again is really cool to see. It's really fun. Honestly, I think that Jinx's end is probably one of the better ends for a character I think I've ever seen, because, you know, at the end of the day, Jinx at the end really did achieve what she had always wanted to in life, you know. The thing that she was wanting to do that literally started this entire series off, she just wanted to help. You know, all she wanted to do in the end was help, and by the end, she did that, you know. She became a very big part of the, a very key element to the actual conflict itself that led to, you know, everyone actually gaining an upper hand on Ambassador's army, that brought Echo along with a story that let him help out, you know, that literally basically ended the past for Jinx entirely, you know, because everything represents Episode 3 is a part of Jinx, you know. Vander, his end, what he is now, this beast that he is a part of Jinx. It's a part of what she did, and it is unnatural to be here. It's a part of the past that should have remained dead, in general, that weighs and chains Jinx down, you know, and in the end, she does what she does, you know. She understands that Violet will be okay. Violet has found happiness in another person that is not connected to her in any way, or connected to the family that they lost all those years ago. So she decides to end the parts of the past about her that don't need to remain anymore. You know, Vander's body, Vander's suffering, he would not want this, and she ends up, you know, removing him from the equation while also doing, you know, being that part, being that piece that can finally let Violet move on from her and let herself actually rest properly by fixing a mistake that she directly caused, you know. And it's a beautiful end, you know, like, because I went into Season 2 knowing that Jinx's likelihood of surviving was probably lower than, like, 10%, and so, while I'm not surprised necessarily that it happened, it still fucked me up a little bit, because, you know, it's one thing to know for sure, it's another thing to actually experience and see a character that you love going out, and yeah, Jinx is probably one of my favorite characters of all time. I love her personality, I love her design, I love her motivations, and I love the resolution to her character, that it's mainly part of the reason why I didn't do this season right away, was just because I didn't want the journey and the experience with Jinx to end, and we reached it, you know. We have reached that point where it's over, and it really hurts to see that. But again, it's something to make peace with. It's something that's going to settle and sit with me for a little bit, but I will eventually end up making, you know, the peace of the of it. So at the end of the day, we can get to that point. But you know, great stuff to reach there. The only thing again about the ending as a whole, well, not the ending, but necessarily the episode itself, is I'm very surprised in terms of Jinx that we did skip the part that, you know, the part of Echo, the part of actually the conversation, you know, because we go literally from Jinx fucking intentionally killing herself again and again and again, I think it's a little more, unclear here if Echo's ability affects other people, right? Because in episode 7, it's very clear that Heimeldinger and Powder are not aware that Echo is leaping seconds back in time, and they keep repeating the same phrases and reactions. In this episode, it's not as clear if Jinx is aware of what's happening, if it's if Echo is still reversing time or not, and she's just intentionally, using the bomb to blow herself up and blow him up again and again. I don't know if it's as clear as that as it is in episode 7, but, just the fact that we literally go from Jinx wanting to free herself in a way to get out of this, right, and then Echo manages to actually get her involved in the conflict, but we don't see that, does feel a little, it does feel a little disappointing to see that, because, like, what that basically did was unshackle Jinx from the impact of the series, right? Unshackle Jinx from the tethers that binded her to characters like Vanda and Silco, and, I do want to preference this by saying that I love these two, I love Jinx and Silco's dynamic. It's toxic, sure, and its foundations are built on trauma of a high magnitude, but in general, you really do feel that Silco is Jinx's daddy. Vanda is Powder's daddy, but Jinx, her daddy is Silco. And everything that is a part of her is a part of Silco, and that's why, like, her final voice to her about breaking the cycle comes from Silco. It's because, everything that he did with her, for her, and to her has led her to be this person, this fucked up, broken individual that he just didn't know how to help because he hadn't properly dealt with his own conflict yet, because a lot of what Silco did, unintentionally as it might have been, and out of love as it might have been, was just dump his own trauma into Jinx, using the methods, using the solutions that he found that worked for him, forcing her to go through that at the same time, when in the end, all it did was confuse her more, and all it did was spark up betrayal in the past more and more, Like almost like the baptism scene is a good example of that, pushing his own, his own location where his own trauma took place and forcing her to go through that just to get more, just to try and solve her own issue, which is not the same thing, right? She was tethered a lot to her past like that, and we see that Echo somehow breaks her enough to where she can make her own choice and actually make a difference and get that moment she wanted of helping out, but we don't see it, and I feel like it is very unfortunate to see that in general. But again, it comes with a problem of Echo in the series I have in general. It's that he really feels like a character that is only important in the series when he's on screen, because he's never really spoken about or mentioned at any point when he's not on screen. Like, that was a big thing in Season 1, was, in Act 2, when everyone's changed, you meet Vi, you meet Jinx, you meet, the new hierarchy in Zaun. You don't actually hear about Echo at all, And then in Episode 7, we get the reunion of Violet and Echo, and in Season 2, again, same thing. Like, Act 2 is not mentioned in any way, shape, or form, and then they just show him up in Episode 7 and whatnot, and it's like, oh, he's finally back, right? But you don't get that in the series, which feels a little wasted because, he's like the loose cannon that is literally... He is literally a piece of Jinx's past. From Act 1 to Act 2, the literal only survivor piece. He's the only piece of Powder left in Zaun that, kind of tethers her to the past, but we don't get any of that. We don't actually see what that actually entails, like, she calls him, the boy savior. Where the fuck did that nickname even come from? What is that implying that she knows he's the Firelight leader and that she knows about the tree in the Undercity? Like, what's actually going on there? And, they tell his story more so through the enemy cinematic, the fight with Jinx and the bridge, which is cool, for sure. But again, outside of it all, like, no one questions or mentions him in any way when he's not or talks about him, or the Firelights really, when he's not actually doing something directly that the camera's focusing on. So it feels like, he's a little underutilized like that. Like, I kind of get he is the time guy, so timing is a big, important factor to his character. But it does just feel weird about that, and that's why it kind of feels weird having him be the love interest for Jinx when, especially in episode 7, which is the perfect indicator, he did just fucking pop out of nowhere, to be fair, you know? He did just pop into a new existence out of fucking nowhere for the characters and the audience, so it just feels weird to get that kind of connotation, right? And let's be honest for a moment, he did kiss another guy's girl. Technically. You know, Echo or not, they're two very different peoples, and so is Powder and Jinx, so that's kind of weird, although can't blame you entirely, because Powder is Powder and Jinx is Jinx, and I would also be a little too tempted to go for it if I had a chance, so, you know, that's what that is. But yeah, kind of my main thing about Echo is that when he's on screen, he's pretty good, but when he's not on screen, you just wonder what the fuck he's doing, which is unfortunate. But yeah, on top of that, I think my most surprising part about this episode, the finale, is really just how much it actually leaves open. Because, you know, it really feels like at the end there that we actually have quite a bit of potential going forward in the story with these characters, you know, or I think my assumption, and I think a lot of assumptions in the season, at the end of season 1 was that, you know, season 2 would resolve the conflict, or another season would resolve the conflict of Zaun and Piltover, but once those stories were done, we basically turned this show into an anthology series where we just skip to a new location, skip to a new area in this universe, and then we just go on from there. You know, as there's many more champions to focus on that don't revolve around the story of Piltover and Zaun, and then we might loosely get, you know, continuity references to what went on in there. While adapting the other stories, a bit like, you know, I don't know, the MCU, the DCAU, shit like that. But it seems like we're actually getting a bit of that. We saw Mel go back to Noxus to probably take her place, you know, in Mbessa's absence, or Mbessa's death, obviously. And then you actually get quite a bit with, like, Sin. She seemed to actually fix his daughter, and he woke her up from the brink of death. Then you've got the bomb from Caitlyn about asking if Fi's still in the fight, and it's like, well, that gives pretty big implication to the idea that these two are going to come back at some point in the future, and, you know, without Jinx as, like, a piece of their story, what exactly is there going to be of that? So, it definitely does feel like they intend on using these characters again in the future, and that does elude me a little more to being interested in continuing this story. It just, again, when you have the main core character like Jinx be absent from now on, it makes me a little apprehensive to continue. It makes me a little more apprehensive to really accept going forward in a continuity like this, because the piece of the show I love the most is gone now. You know, and, you know, 2-3 years from now, maybe, I am a year late to this, that might change I might be more willing to go into it, but I am still in the period of just, you know, I'm going to be depressed as fuck about this story ending for a couple of days, maybe a week or two. And I'll see how I feel when something else actually comes of this, you know. But we will see what comes of that when we get to it. But yeah, we'll deal with that when we do end up getting to it. But yeah, like I said, had a lot of fun with it. I think in general, a part of what really makes Arcane really groundbreaking, and I think this is just a generalization of it, is that it really is a unique piece of media, right? It's a piece where it really shows the potential that animation has reached now. It really shows the potential of what passion for a project or an IP can really bring, you know, because this is unironically, you know, the best animated series I have ever seen for anything. You know, there's a lot of beautifully animated anime out there. You know, you got Demon Slayer as like a very, very modern, very recognizable name when it comes to just its animation quality alone. But when you come to like the Western side of things, not a whole lot I think stands out in the way that Arcane quite does. you know, you've got stuff like Into the Spider-Verse, which is good, but that's an example of a movie. You naturally expect a movie to have more of a higher budget than what you get from a series. But Arcane honestly does feel like of the quality that it is Spider-Verse level, you know. And it does feel like it really does impact the industry, where it does show the full potential of what something like what animation can actually bring, right? Because there's just certain limitations you have with stories when it comes to animation you don't have with live action. Same thing in reverse order, you know, there are just some things you do in animation you can't do in live action. But stories like Arcane, I think, really do have a great example of just showing the boundaries that have and can be breached if you do it right, and if you have true intention with a story, you know, because this thing, you know, Arcane just, it uses its animation perfectly. It uses its animation to actually tell its tale in situations where the show don't tell approach has it. It literally shows stuff it doesn't have the time to really show, which or doesn't really tell, which again, I think is a big thing about Echo's character in certain instances. But it just feels like everything is beautifully crafted down to its exact purpose, right? You get the Flash, you know, you get the fight on the bridge with Echo and Jinx, and you see visually, you know, the kind of games they used to play, and you see it how it used to be, and then you compare it to what's literally happening, and you see the story of what they used to be like in that regard, you know. You get it in episode 6 of season 2, where it demonstrates that, without it directly implying it, that time has passed significantly from Act 1, where, you know, Isha and Jinx have been doing shit for a long time now, where they've just been bonding. You see why Jinx has gone through so much trouble and risk to actually save Isha's life, and why it has broken her, why it has torn her apart to lose her at the end of episode 6. You know, you see these moments that Arcane uses its brilliant animation, its different combinations of art styles to really paint this picture, that it just feels breathtaking. And a part of that, I think, really is that Arcane is one of the first examples of this, where it came out in 2021, and it was just like, you know, I'd never seen anything like it. I'd never seen anything like this story before, and that really does stand out in general, obviously. And I don't know right now, at this point, if anything's quite caught up to it in terms of an actual series, not a movie. But it does speak to, like, if this is a direction in the future that animation's going, I mean, we're looking high, we're looking very far, you know, and if it can be done for just IPs, you know, existing IPs that have a clear thought process put into it, then that is gonna be fucking exciting, you know. The only thing is, can this be done with original stuff, you know? I mean, who actually knows? But I think it's gonna be a big hunt to find something quite like Arcane in that regard. Because it really speaks, I think, to the respect that animation is getting now, to the respect that has always been a fight, you know, it's always been a fight that, like, cartoons, anime, you know, animation in general is seen mostly as young media, mostly seen as stuff, you know, like, stuff like MLP, you know, like Cartoon Network and, you know, SpongeBob and shit, where a lot of people, especially older people, just judge it on the sense of it's childish. But these kind of shows, the kinds of things I feel like just visually capture people that have that mindset, and they can actually take the chance to appreciate it and understand that these stories, first and foremost, are stories, and they really do they leave an impact, for sure. They definitely do leave an impact, and Arcane is really, like, it's one of those stories where everyone can get roped into it and everyone can appreciate it visually, and it feels like something that can be an example of what's to come in the future, and again, it's really fun. The only, like, you know, question is really if Riot intends to actually keep this quality going forward, you know, because while obviously, heaven forbid anything ever for any IP ever comes out as bad as it was, but One Punch Man Season 3, you know, didn't even finish it yet, but, you know, just speaking to, like, budgets in general, you know, one part of me thinks that Arcane as a series, or, you know, just the League of Legends IP that has been built, can go on for a long time. Another part of the factor is, like, is it too risky to have this go on for too long? Because the budget can always shrink, you know, the budget can go down. The animation of Season 1 and 2 of Arcane could have been the lightning in a bottle, the exception to the rule, you know, and when we reach a new location, can we even continuously and comfortably keep that level going is a bit of a concern, you know, because it doesn't really matter what kind of series it is. Eventually, if something goes on for too long, at least in animation purely format, you know, things are going to start getting cut, things are going to start going downhill as companies get more like, as they get more confident that the IP is going to print money anyway, so they don't have to visually impress you anymore, you know. And Arcane, you know, that shit caught everyone right away in Season 1, Act 1, so I mean, well, Season 2 kept that going. I think Season 2's animation was still going at the time of Season 1 was, so, you know, it's going to be interesting, right? Because I think Season 1 took like 6 years to do, just from animation alone. That's crazy, and I think Season 2 took much less, but that's... And it really does make it funny that, like, part of the reason that this even came out and why this animation quality actually exists for Arcane is also to fucking promote, like, League of Legends, for God's sake. Like, I don't know if League had become stagnant or if it was on a decline, you know, when Arcane came out. And I know it took 6 years to get this shit done, but, like, it's just funny to think that, like, you know, this came from a League of Legends, or the League of Legends IP, the, like, one of the most infamous IPs in all of gaming, one of the most destructive IPs in all of gaming, because I've even seen, you know, I literally have a friend that games more than I will probably ever will in my life, to be honest, and I am a gamer, and they even said they will never touch League of Legends because of, like, how fucking crazy it is. And everyone I've spoken to on the subject of League of Legends has said, you know, if you play it, you basically just sealed your fate. And it's just kind of funny how, in a way, this is a promotional piece for probably the most destructive game I've ever heard. The reputation of it is insane, and it's just funny to think about that, you know, and it just makes it funny to think just how good of a series this actually was that came out of it, because again, like, when you have so much groundwork and so much potential to base off of, when you have so many fucking characters in a game as big as League to make a series out of, and you can't even utilize all of them, it's very interesting how they were able to put this all together, because, you know, I don't know, like, again, I think probably certain characters have established and refined enough interactions with, but I know that, like, the lore of League, like, isn't the most clear in general, so it does make me curious, like, how they actually went about this, you know, how they actually pinpointed the right people to use in this story over others, and how much restriction, honestly, was involved in this story, because obviously, you know, people that know League had to have written this, people who know what they're doing, the settings they're working with, the people they are interacting with, you know, they had to have known League, and I can't imagine it's easy to have restraint enough like this when you either have to tone down things, you can't use your favorite characters, or, you know, you have to flesh out characters you might not have had too much idea of how they work, and it's just kind of funny to think about that, you know. And like I said, in Season 1, it was all great, and in Season 2, again, I think one of the bigger things, one of the bigger grievances, which, again, personal stuff, is just the lack of overall interactions with certain people, you know, because obviously I wanted to see the reunion when it came to Echo and Violet. I think that would have been really fun. I wanted to see a bit more interaction when Jinx was taken from Caitlyn, you know. This is literally the fucking girl that ripped her family to pieces, you know, which would have been fun. I wanted to see more of Savika and Jinx and that dynamic, which was actually kind of the crazy thing about Season 2 again, is that, like, Savika just left, just walked into the void and didn't come back again until, like, episode 8, and then she's just kind of, like, doing her own thing right after causing a massive breach in Stillwater. Like, she just comes back and she doesn't even, I don't think she speaks, so unfortunate, very unfortunate how Savika ended up, but she was always, like, a B tier character anyway, she wasn't, like, the higher tiers, so it's understandable. And then you've got, like, you know, top side of stuff with Jace and Victor, like, hands down, let's be real here, fucking their final scene together, you know, in that void. Probably the gayest thing I've ever seen, you know? And yes, I am including the literal sex scene prior to this episode in the very, very dirty prison cell of, you know, with Jinx and Caitlyn. You know, I'm including shit like Has-Been Hotel, and that shows whole gay dynamic going on. You know, there's a lot of stuff in that. A lot of stuff in a lot of different media, obviously, as you know, as queer representation has increased. And not even the main intention of these two, but like, holy fuck, that was that sparked some implications, I'm not gonna lie, and that is pretty funny to even think about. Mel and Jace barely interacted in this season, added on to the point, but like Victor and Jace, oh, I have no doubt. I genuinely have no doubt there, because in general, you know, if there's a strong enough relationship in any capacity, it's gonna be a big ship, you know. Jace and Victor work well together. It's gonna be a big ship, you know. Caitlyn and Violet, those two will probably ship the second they fucking met in that prison cell, you know. Echo and Jinx, I think probably more comes so from the fact that they're around the similar age, because, you know, that's another like indication of like shipping stuff, right? Is that obviously if a dynamic works well enough between two characters, regardless of who they are, who they're with, people are gonna go for it. With Echo and Jinx, it feels a little more situational, where because they are the youngest characters in the show by a decent margin, it almost feels like they had to be shipped in some way, shape, or form if any relationship status was going to come up with either of them anyway, because that is pretty typical in shows where, you know, you've got a group, you got a group of characters, and there's, you know, either one or two significantly younger people in there. They're usually paired together. That was Powder and Echo, so it wasn't too surprising they alluded to that, and in the alternate reality, they outright fucking did it, you know, so not surprised there. And again, that goes into the potential of Season 2 that I did wish it could be expanded upon, because, like I said, every act was great. Every act I enjoyed immensely. Every act I really fucking vibed with, right? But it's, again, this isn't a insult to Act 2 or anything, or sorry, to Season 2, but it really feels like, I think they put together what they did, how they wanted it to, pretty well, but I think its potential, again, was just limited by the fact Arcane had a set runtime and a set amount of episodes to make it work, you know, where Act 1 does a lot of its good stuff following immediately off of Season 1's finale. Act 2 wanted to do the reconciliation and the potential stuff with Vander and his girls, you know. Act 3 obviously gave us that one episode of Echo and then did the whole destructive finale. I feel like in general, if you really wanted to bring that potential out, all of these acts could have been their own season. Maybe not exactly that much time, that might be a little too much time for some of these things to do, but I feel like Act 1 mostly was the expectation of what Season 2 would have been. And then, you know, Act 2 and Act 3 were just, like, things we were never going to expect. You know, I doubt many people were going to expect that, like, the whole Vander, and especially the Jinx and Violet reconciliation plotline was going to happen, you know. It was good for what it was. It gave us a lot of time to actually experience Violet and Jinx interacting, you know, which is what we kind of wanted from Season 1. But it felt like, you know, it came a bit at the cost of other characters and their dynamics, and then then Episode 7, I mean, Jesus Christ, Episode 7's really good. But again, not even so much with Powder and Echo, more so the world they built itself as a result of the changed butterfly effect and the changed history. I want to see, you know, fucking Powder is influenced by Vander and Silco for a long time. I want to see that. I really want to see that. I want to see the aftermath, how Powder managed to get through, you know, losing Violet. I want to see how they managed to actually fix the system of Zaun to make it somewhat of a livable environment. I want to see how this utopian world actually worked, because obviously by by episode 1 of our main continuity universe, it's not possible to reach that point anyway. Because it felt like, things like, like Silco's whole journey had already happened prior to the series beginnings. But you just give me, like, some, like, Marvel fucking Watcher shit where we just go on a movie, like, 2 hours give me, on how, the story changed dramatically before Violet and Caitlyn, Violet and Jinx of Powder were ever born. That would have been cool, because, like, Vanda and Silco were like, big friends with Mummy. I don't remember if she was named in the series or not, but, like, they knew Mummy, and it wasn't made exactly clear, when Silco and Vanda had the breakup, and if Silco was even fully aware of Jinx and Violet, like, if he was actually aware that these two children were very specifically, his previous dead friend's daughters, right? Because that could have been, like, a big motivational piece for him was losing her, showing what that war did, showing that, the loss had become very, very personal for him in particular, as well as Vanda, and that's kind of why he got so pissed off at Vanda for becoming stagnant, was because they lost, like, their third person. They were a trio. They were a trio from, like, their younger days, and here's Vanda answering to enforcers, like, cutting deals with these people, which is seen as the most, like, heinous crime in all of Zaun, and that could have built motivation for him actually taking him out, but it felt like a lot of the times that Silco barely even understood that, like, he had indirectly taken in the child of his, probably his best female friend ever. And then Violet, who's the first kid that literally he heard the origin of her name come out, and it's like, bro, you're not going to say anything about that? But it would have been cool, again, to see how they actually corresponded that in, in that episode. That would have been really fun to see the changes in that I would have loved. But, yeah, again, it speaks to some potential that unfortunately did not quite reach it. But, again, it was a good episode, and it was still a fun time, and it's going to be interesting on rewatches and whatnot. But we'll see where we go with that. But yeah, guys, in general, this has just been an experience. This has been a crazy experience. Again, some character dynamics, unfortunately, were not there. Violet, Echo, not really. Violet and Caitlyn in this season were pretty good, but I feel like some of it's not very well put together in the fact of the time skipping. I actually don't know how much time was actually skipped over from episode 1 to episode 9 in this season, whereas the big time skip obviously is the like the 7 or 8 or like 10-year gap between Act 1 and Act 2 in season 1. I don't know how much time we actually missed in season 2 or how long season 2 took over in the placing, so how much time, Caitlyn spent away from Violet, but like I said, implications were there that, like, with Jinx's time with Isha, that it was quite a long time. So I might have to look that up and see how much time we actually spent in this season. And, like I said, it's just unfortunate that we had dynamics and potential in there that didn't really go anywhere, Even, Ambessa, right, and the potential there, like having her versus Violet, her versus like Savika would have been really fun. Maddie, the ginger girl, was one of her like spies, her traders inside of Piltover, who was said to be like a Violet fan, and we didn't even get that. We see these new characters in Violet's life that we don't get too much time with, but we get probably the funniest death I've seen in quite a while, where Maddie goes for that bullet on Caitlyn. Mel shoots up a barrier and it fucking ricochets back into her. That was peak, honestly. That might have improved my my view of that NPC Maddie right off the bat, because she went out in a very memorable, very funny way, and I loved it. And in general, we lost less people in the finale than I thought we would, but we lost some of the most important, right? And the big one is Jinx. The big one is Victor and Jace, would have talk about dynamic side that could have been further developed. Ones we didn't even get, like Jason Jinx would have been fucking crazy, Jinx is literally the girl that started Jace on this path that exposed his inventions, his magic to to Piltover that stole his core and literally made it work in her own machinery just off of basic notes. And they never meet, and they never discuss anything, and that's very unfortunate, you know. Jace, like Victor's time with Jinx as well is very limited, and by that point she's basically too normal for the interaction to even be like funny. Seeing how Victor would have played off of her like dynamic would have been cool. But you know, it is what it is. You can't get everything in life, and sometimes your expectations and your hopes kind of become nitpicky when trying to actually discuss how a story would operate, and I feel like that's where I'm going at this point. But yeah, guys, I've loved Arcane. I feel dirty saying it, but I love an IP in League of Legends. This actually almost made me play League of Legends, which, you know, maybe one day I'll actually play League of Legends, but I managed to avoid that for now. But if more comes out and I start getting it and getting hooked, you never know. But yeah, that has been Arcane. That's been one of my best experiences with, you know, animation in general. If we're talking like favorite shit, honestly, it's probably up. Yeah, well, no, it is. It fucking is up there, right? Is it favorite Western? Is a question, right? Because I haven't really watched too much outside of the channel itself, like on the downtime. I usually am very cautious now about what I watch on my own time because, you know, stuff might become a reaction, and if I like it too much, I'm kind of sad I didn't make a reaction out of it. But like, it definitely outbeats a lot of it, right? And I'm not even going to count anime right now because you've got some god stuff like Steins Gate, Code Geass, which I think it honestly might be in the fucking discussion of there. But you know, like stuff I've really enjoyed, like regular show, or stuff like you know, what have I even watched? Like, what have I fucking watched? Not everything I've done is even up on the current channel, which I need to work on. But like, you know, some of the big stuff is there, and I really like it. So I think like the big contender right now probably would be regular show. I think that show's just incredible. I honestly think it is over that. It's easily over Owl House. It's easily over Amphibia, although that has a really fun ending. Invincible's good, but it's not that good. I think in general this might actually be like, from a personal enjoyment level, from a particular writing level, I think this might actually be my top Western show, and that's a big thing for me. That's very big. But yeah, guys, this has been Arcane League of Legends, the story of Jinx, of Violet, of Piltover and Zaun. It has been surprising and a wild ride, and I hope you guys have enjoyed these reactions. You know, I really hope you have enjoyed my experience of Arcane with Season 2. Season 1, because I have loved it, and I am going to continue loving it for a very long time. Whether more comes out and I watch it or not, there's still a lot. I'm gonna still rewatch this shit a lot, because bro, I got a lot of videos to watch now on this show, and absorb more opinions and more facts and notice things I never noticed in these videos and these reactions, you know, and that's going to be fun too. That's part of the experience of doing this channel and watching new things and loving them. But guys, thank you for watching my reactions to Arcane League of Legends. This is where I say goodbye to Jinx, one of my crazy fucking goddess level girls. Seen a lot of crazies, a lot of you know, broken girls in media, and I think she's under the S tier list for sure. She's on like the greatest of, like, you know, characters, and I'm not gonna name names because spoilers for other media, but she's up there big time, and I'm not gonna accept any slander on Jinx. But guys, thanks for watching. I probably have another 1 or 2 videos planned on Arcane, or just generally in this IP, you know, not to give away too much, but we'll see what comes of that. But guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.